My people, thanks for tapping back in. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate you guys. 100 years of wealth to you and yours. I hope everything is going well. Let's go ahead and get into this reaction real quick. And this is going to be a reaction plus a outlet of my opinions. But let's go ahead and get this started. This video, really quickly, you see it in the title. The bum Lakers continue to humiliate themselves, right? And also why I've stopped watching the Los Angeles Lakers, even though I am a true diehard Laker fan. So I'll just say this and then we'll let this video play because I like my guy, Scape Attack, always on point with his information. He's a bit dramatic, talks heavy, but it's pretty funny. But as a lifelong Laker fan, I'm talking about, 5, 6 years old watching the Lakers. First, I was young and I was in the background while the family watched. And then I caught myself at 6, 7 years old coming home from school, clicking on that KCAL 9, watching Chick Hearns, watching Stu Lance give the whole breakdown of the game and commentate. I was watching James Worthy, Byron Scott. I was watching Michael Cooper, Orlando Woolridge. Who else? We had Sam Perkins. Later on, we had Van Exel. But if we go back to the early days, we had AC Green. We had Kurt Rambis. I'm telling you, I watched those dudes. So it really bugs me when people try to hate on the 80s and the 90s. And because those dudes were strong, fast. Obviously, the game was different, but I watched those dudes, right? So you watch them, you watch how they played, you watch the type of team first mentality that the Lakers organization had, the city first mentality that the Lakers organization had. When I say organization, I mean obviously the people up top or whatever, but I mean the players, right? The way that the players in Los Angeles played and acted towards the team was like you would rip their jersey off and you would still see the same emblem. That was like the vibe that you got, right? This was during an era where your team this year is likely going to be your team next year, right? People stayed with their groups longer. And we respected our legends, right? We respected the people that came before us. You would never hear Magic Johnson trying to take Kareem's spot. You would only hear one of the legends big upping, giving more props to the next one that came after them or the ones that came before them, right? So that's the reason why your boy, the current, main guy on the Lakers, is such a hard pill to swallow for a lot of true Laker fans because he's all about me, right? Like while our boy is still being buried, this dude's talking about he's the GOAT when it's like, hey, look, if you are that, let the world tell you that, especially when you're stepping into a place of someone that has bigger accomplishments than you and you're stepping into his home. How about you just play respectful, But anyway, let's go ahead and tap into this and you see what you guys think. Let's go.
Well, the bumbling, inept trash heap that was formerly the greatest organization in professional basketball history continues to trip all over themselves in a seeming constant rush to destroy and tarnish the franchise. The Los Angeles Lakers, a franchise which was home to quite literally some of the greatest players to ever live, and no player greater of that collection than the late Kobe Bryant. In fact, for 20 years, Kobe was the Lakers, the very epitome of everything that franchise used to stand for. And yet, he had to wait a criminally negligent 7 years, 9 months, and 26 days to finally get a damn statue outside. Yet this pile of feces ownership group had a banner flying for that fake ass in-season tournament this year in under 2 weeks. And while the statue itself, the first of a planned 3, was dropped in a fitting ceremony about 5 weeks ago, now that it is in place outside of the arena, we are getting word of some errors. See, the statue commemorates Bryant's historic 81-point performance against the Toronto Raptors on January 22nd, 2005, which included 55 points in the second half. It captures the moment Kobe walked off of the floor after being subbed out of the game with 4.2 seconds left in the fourth. The statue, therefore, includes the box score imprinted on the side of the base, and there are multiple misspellings. Most notably, Jose Calderon and Von Wafer's names were incorrect, both of which played for the Lakers at one point.
Are we fucking serious right now with this? Like, how could something that took so damn long, how could you make a mistake on the easiest thing that you could have got right? Basically, fucking have someone spell check prior to engraving the marble. I digress.
In their careers, you cannot make this level of ineptitude up. The word coach's decision was also misspelled. I bet there are no errors with that in-season tournament banner, though, that got rushed up in literally about 10 days after Bron and co. were dousing one another with champagne like they just won an NBA championship. Bryant, meanwhile, spent nearly half of his life giving everything he had to this organization. And after waiting nearly 8 years, we get this. It's a complete crap. But
it's a complete crap.
Rep says that they have been aware of the errors and are working on correcting it. Correcting it? You know that saying, it's not set in stone? Well, this literally is. Or whatever the hell material the statue is made out of. Guess we shouldn't be surprised though, as Lakers team president Jeannie Buss seems a bit preoccupied these days, as she was seen getting pretty cozy with Bron on the...
Hey, look, outside of basketball, LeBron James has had a great career, obviously, but outside of basketball, he's been pretty flawless, right? He hasn't had no scandals, no drama, and trust me, like, if I respect LeBron, I'm gonna debate the GOAT topic a lot, and as a Laker fan, I'm gonna give you my opinion on his presence here. But all analysis aside, I respect him as a man, as a black man, what he's done, what he's created. So I'll never try to take that from him. And he's been flawless on the outside, right? He ain't out there cheating. He ain't out there doing drugs. He ain't out there having some scandals pop up. But that shit look bad, right? Don't be having your manager, your boss, all hanging all on you with her homegirl. And then, your wife's going to see that. So I don't think he planned that, obviously. And I don't think that he was feeling comfortable as it was going on, because, you could see he kept his hands kind of tight. But goddamn, anybody that's in a relationship, we know Savannah was giving him major side eye when he got home. He ain't getting no punti. He is on restriction for a little while. That's crazy though. Come on, LeBron, don't be letting those Kuwait girls get you in trouble.
Sideline of a game last week. A game he was resting that ankle, aka load managing, or just outright dodging a hot Milwaukee Bucks team who did initially come out of the All-Star break.
And that's my other point about LeBron, right? Look, you cannot in a tight league where everything is, all the small stuff matters. If you are the main player, you are the leader, you're the dominant force on a team, and you miss every other game, or if there's back-to-backs, you miss the second of the back-to-back, or if, you know what I mean? Like, unless there's a legit injury I didn't know about, it's just crazy for you to miss that many games and then expect to have the success that is coming to teams that are playing every game or as many games as possible. You are sabotaging your team by doing that load management stuff. You may individually last longer. You may avoid major injury longer. You may score more points and stack the statistics longer, but there's no way that you're helping, your team synergy grow or building momentum, because one day you guys are all pumping together, you're running the show, you're doing this or that. The next day, someone else has to figure out a new role for themselves, and they might be able to do it. They're pros, they step up, they ball out, but then the next game, they got to go back to a different role and then switch back and forth. You're gonna mess up the synergy of your team, and that's part of the reason why LeBron isn't consistently dominating. I'm not talking about your stats. I'm talking about like your team, right? Like, Steph Curry beat you 3 out of 4 finals for a reason. My man doesn't load manage. Him and his team were functioning like a well-oiled machine, right? Just a point.
Winning 6 straight games. Well, despite James faking some arbitrary injury to skip the game and cuddle up with Jeannie Buss on the sideline, the Lakers actually
he was probably cringing inside. I already know. He's a loyal man. I already know.
44 point, 9 assist, and 6 rebound game on 17 of 25 shooting and 9 of 12 from 3. LeBron, though, would make his triumphant return 2 days later to face the Timberwolves at home. And despite Minnesota missing Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Davis, making NBA history with a first-of-its-kind stat line of 27 points, 25 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 steals, and 3 blocks. This game was still tied in the fourth quarter. No problem, though. The Lakers just leaned on their biggest go-to move, an obscene free throw discrepancy, outshooting Minnesota 29-13 from the line. Nothing to see here, just more of the same. Ultimately, though, it is sad when we see the end of a formerly great, anything. But athletes diminish, heroes die, and even civilizations fall. The Lakers are not immune to this similar fate. And one can make a pretty strong argument that the beginning of the end for this franchise came on July 1st of 2018 when they signed the biggest self-aggrandizing narcissist in sports history. A guy who, coincidentally, embodied...
I would just say this, what he's saying, self-aggrandizing, like who would write the chosen one on their back? That's that new gen shit, right? That's that new generation. Like, I said it, so I am it. And we're all about positivity. But it's like, do you realize how that comes off, you big doucheball? But I just remember back when LeBron was first coming up and, we were starting to hear about him. And, like, I wasn't the type that was, like, watching high school sports. So, like, when he popped up on ESPN, I was like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, cool. I was, he seemed athletic, but I wasn't like, oh, he's going to be the next guy or whatever. And then I seen something where it was like the chosen one on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And then later on, I seen that he had the tattoo. I'm just like, and then I seen that his nickname was the King. I'm just like, who the fuck calls himself that? Like, I'm all about that humble superstar. I'm all about that person that's like, hey, look, let my game show it. I'm going to go and grind and then I'll be there. Right. Like, I was always the type of person that's like, let someone else say that you're great. Right. Like, I get the manifest destiny, like, hey, look, fake it till you make it. I'm going to be this. I totally get that. But at the same time, don't you understand how much of a douchebag you come off? How much better you look if you just allow other people to uplift you and you focus on what the real ones did. They realize that by big upping, how do you say it? Or by like giving more props to the people that came before you, it made you look better, and it also made the system look better, right? Like when Magic passes the torch and talks about how great Kobe is, or when Magic was so like egoless when he started talking about Michael Jordan and how Michael Jordan took the reins and ran with it, and like he had no hesitation to just pass it off because he did his thing. He knew he was a legend. He knew he was a GOAT. He had 5 rings. He won a championship as a rookie, right? Magic Johnson's a fucking god in Los Angeles. We love that man, right? So like there was no hesitation for him to be like Michael Jordan, right? Like he's the truth, right? And then when Kobe comes along, no hesitation to be like, I love Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. No hesitation on giving LeBron his props or any other star, right? But then when your boy seems to point more at himself and want to like discredit the previous legends, it's just like, that's not how we do in LA. And it also downgrades everything around you, right? This is a weird analogy, right? But let's say we're talking about a gang, right? A mafia, right? And you got the big boss at the top, right? And then you got the younger goons below. The younger goons, instead of being like, oh, who does he think he is? No, I'm the new goon. I'm the guy, right? If they understand that, hey, look, if you do that, then now you're on your own, right? Like now we gotta look at you and like, oh, he's a tough guy, but like what's the system behind him, right? Like there's no credit. All right, bye, right? You don't, But if we look up and you're a tough guy and you're like, hey, yeah, the boss is the boss and we respect the boss and this, then that shit trickles down and it continues to make your thing stronger. And then as you ascend, that strength stays there, right? But if you try to knock down the pyramid just so that you can be on the top of something, you're gonna be on the top of a piece of rubble. That analogy is golden. Now take that and give me a like and a subscribe. But anyways, y'all, hey, look, go check out my man Scap Attack. His shit's comedy and it's factual and it's, on point. But at the end of the day, I want to say this to you guys. 100 years of wealth. Stay healthy. Stay focused. Peace, love, and happiness to all you and yours. And I'll like and subscribe and I'll be back. Thanks, guys.